This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
In a filmmaking career that has spanned over 30 years, my next guest is the man responsible for such cinematic classics as The House of Usher, Wild Angels, The Monster from the Ocean Floor, The Attack of the Crab Monsters, Little Shop of Horrors, and hundreds of others. A great many of his films are considered cult favorites, and many of their stars are now the biggest names in Hollywood. Please welcome Roger Corman. That's an impressive list. We have others. We have Monster from the Ocean Floor, Stakeout on Dope Street, The Battle of Blood Island, Queen of Blood, The Wasp Woman, The Viking Women, Teenage Caveman.
Now, there I must break in. The picture Teenage Caveman was never made. I made a picture called Prehistoric World that for one wild week the distributors changed the title to Teenage Caveman. Mm-hmm. When nobody came, they changed the title back to Prehistoric World.
So we can still maybe shoot one later tonight and use the title.
The title is still available.
It's interesting. You're now, well, how does it feel when people, there are books written about these movies and they refer to you as the king of schlock and they treat these films as being silly? How do you
I like the guy who laughed out there,
yeah.
However, right?
How does that affect you?
Well, I kind of like the books. That's very nice, and a certain amount of lecturing goes with it. It's the feeling that maybe I'm becoming an elder statesman that I'm not so totally pleased with, however.
And now you're doing other things. You're helping to distribute the Tin Drum, Breaker Morant, and films that may be considered the other end of the scale, huh?
Yes, we have a number of art films we're distributing. As a matter of fact, this fall, we're going to open Fitzcarraldo. It's going to be in the New York Film Festival, and it won Best Director Award at the Cannes Film Festival, so we're very pleased with that particular film.
Now, earlier I mentioned that we could use this title and shoot a film after the show. You actually did that kind of schedule of shooting films, didn't you? Pretty quickly.
Yes, most of the films, the ones you're referring to, were the earlier ones. I was shooting on schedules of anywhere from 5 to 10 days and budgets of anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000, the big time.
5 to 10 days?
Right.
What's the least amount of shooting you had for a movie?
Well, there was a picture called The Little Shop of Horrors that I shot in 2 days and a night, and there's a musical off-Broadway based upon it playing now.
And who was this the one that Jack Nicholson was in?
Yes, right.
And I believe we have some footage of this particular film, and we might as well take a look at this now. This is, what was the date on this, 1959 or so?
In that area, yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors. That's amazing. Most of these films actually did really well at the box office, didn't they?
Yes, most of them did very well, as a matter of fact.
And who were some of the other people besides Jack Nicholson? This must be an endless list, who you used and later surfaced as huge worldwide stars.
Well, let me see. Of the actors, there was Bobby De Niro, Peter Fonda, Bruce Dern, a number of others. The names escape me. A number of directors also. Francis Coppola, Marty Scorsese, Irv Kershner, Peter Bogdanovich, a number of others. Oh, as a matter of fact, Charlie Bronson. I forgot the first picture.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. We actually have some photos here. Were you going to go away first?
Yeah, we'll come back.
Okay, well, we're going to pause for a commercial, then we'll take a look at the photographs of the films with Mr. Roger Corman. We'll be right back. Talking to Roger Corman, we just saw a clip of the movie. Again, what was the name of that? Little House of Horrors?
Little Shop of
Little
Horrors.
Shop of Horrors. Right. Let me ask you a couple of questions. How does Jack Nicholson react to that part now? Does he, you've spoken with him recently?
Oh, he speaks very well of it. He considers it to be one of the high points of his early career.
Yeah. And the dentist was wearing a scarf. Any reason for that?
Because he's not actually a dentist. It's a very involved plot. He has actually murdered the dentist.
Oh, I see.
This is a comedy. And he's killed the dentist and is masquerading as the dentist until he can get rid of the body. Meanwhile, Jack is a masochist who likes to come to the dentist's office, comes while he is still trying to get rid of the body.
Yeah. We're sometimes...
It's fairly involved. You have to keep it straight here.
Now, these were made very cheaply, weren't they? Now, why... I mean... I suppose if you had a choice, you'd rather have a bigger budget, but why did you make so many inexpensive films?
Well, for one thing, I didn't have very much money, and I was financing some of the films myself, and also I did a lot of films for American International Pictures, which was a small company at the time, and they didn't have too much money either, so it was kind of forced upon us.
And some of these scripts, did you always have scripts?
We generally had scripts. I would say most of the time there was something there to work with. Sometimes we would go in with, I wouldn't say we never went into production with no script, but sometimes we went in with a first draft script that we were rewriting as we were going along.
It sounds dangerous, but I'm also guessing it was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was very stimulating, a little nerve-wracking occasionally.
All right, now let's take a look at some of these photographs. These were taken, I guess these are production stills taken from the films that were being done.
Yes, that was Machine Gun Kelly with Charlie Bronson playing one of his first leads. He was very, very good, and that was a film that got a certain amount of acclaim in Europe. It established Charlie something of a star in Europe and brought me to the attention of some European critics.
All right. And here we have...
Now, that was Prehistoric World, known briefly as Teenage Caveman,
yeah.
with Bobby Vaughn, Robert Vaughn, playing his first lead over there.
All right.
This was Five Guns West, which is the first film I ever directed. I had a big schedule on that, 9 days. The circle is around Mike Connors. He was known at that time as Touch Connors. This was in the days of, his agent represented, let me see, Rock Hudson, Tab Hunter, Race Gentry, a number of...
Race Gentry?
Race Gentry was one of the up-and-coming stars at the time, and he gave Mike the name Touch, and Mike used it for about a year, and then he said, I've got to get rid of this, and he became Mike Connors immediately.
All right. There he is again, Touch. Is anybody working now like you used to, making the kind of films you used to make?
Not really. It's very difficult today. Now, this is The Terror with Boris Karloff and, again, Jack Nicholson. That was a picture in which I really did not have a script. We used the sets left over from The Raven, which I had done for AIP, and Jack was one of the leads in The Raven with Boris Karloff, Vincent Price, and Peter Lorre. And I was supposed to play tennis one weekend, and it rained, and we wrote the script that afternoon and shot that section in 2 days.
It's amazing. Now, how long, if somebody went to see one of your films, how long would it be?
Oh, these were normal films.
90 minutes?
Yeah, 80 to 90 minutes, somewhere in that area. Maybe 95 sometimes.
All right. Now, this is a good casting pair.
Right. Ray Milland and Don Rickles. A great comedy team. Now, that was Don's first picture, and weirdly enough, he was very nervous. I never would have believed that one of my jobs as a director would be to calm down Don Rickles and tell him, everything's going to be okay, Don, you're doing fine.
You know, these films they're sort of silly now, but everybody has nothing but the highest regard for you and your work, and they're good B movies. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but they're a quality effort for well, brilliance on a budget is the name of the book, isn't it?
Yes.
Pretty much.
I'll go along with that.
All right.
This is Bobby De Niro, the glue sniffer. He played one of the sons of Ma Barker, the great female gangster of the 1930s. That's his mother, Shelley Winters, in the background there.
Yeah.
And Bobby was working on something of his own. He was ostensibly building model airplanes.
Building model airplanes. Right. And as always, kids, don't try this at home. All right. And I think this may be the same film?
That's a still of Ma Barker and her 4 sons. Shelley and I cast the sons, and they've all gone on to do very well, and we're very pleased with them. This is Clint Kimbrough, who's become a director on one side, then Bobby Walden, who's on the Lou Grant Show, Don Stroud, who's played more co-star roles than anybody his age in Hollywood, and De Niro again on the left.
Good heavens.
They were a very, very good family.
Yeah. That's amazing. Now, some of the directors that you've given work to, their first or second project, have then turned around and cast you in films. You've been in several important movies, haven't you?
Right. When Francis Coppola did The Godfather, I was cast as the junior senator on the Crime Investigating Committee, and then I worked a couple of times for a few other directors as well.
It's funny, you're such a pleasant man, it's hard to associate you with, well, Attack of the Crab Monsters or The Beast with a Million Eyes, but it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Right, and you never know what's going on in the back of somebody's mind.
Now, do you miss... Now you're a big film executive. Do you miss this activity?
Yes, it was. It really was fun when we were doing those. I was younger. We were playing with low budgets, and some of the films really were done almost as jokes to see if we could do a film. See if I could do a film in 2 days for $30,000. Now we're spending a little bit more money. Matter of fact, quite a bit more money, and it becomes a little more serious.
Do you think that the motion picture industry will ever go back to courting those really, really cheap movies because of the budgets getting out of hand now?
I think some of the budgets will retreat. Some of the 30, 40, 50 million dollar budgets have been losing 20, 30, 40 million dollars, and somebody's got to call a halt. But it can never go back to where it was. One, inflation has been a factor, but even discounting inflation, I think the various economics, which I needn't get into at the moment, work against that kind of film.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting you. Truly a legend in motion pictures, ladies and gentlemen. Roger Corman. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be back with cult figure Viva.
Christ.
How you been?
Good. Bummed out over the death of Corman, though, but, you know, what else? What is life without B movies? But he was the king of cult cinema.
Roger
I just-
freaking Corman.
Yeah.
I just recently rewatched Corman's World, a documentary that was about him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Charles Band, before he gave up his podcast, he reposted in audio form a 2015 interview that's literally him and Corman just talking with a moderator.
The thing I didn't realize was, like, when he founded New World Pictures, he brought a lot of foreign cinema to the U.S. So he was working with, like, guys like with Kurz. I think he did Fellini and he did Bergman.
Yeah.
And he brought a couple of their movies over.
And Coppola would direct some new stuff or redub it, rescript it.
Yeah.
At the time, they just wanted the archive footage, and they would just slice two movies together to make some coherent story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing about Corman's dying, he still has 6 films ready to go.
Yeah.
And he and his wife, Julie, never stopped working. Like,
No.
Yeah.
Alan Arkush was, like, who I'm friends with the guy who directed Rock and Roll High School and Get Crazy, and Joe Dante. I was like, holy fuck, they were working with him, like, cutting trailers and shit, and I was like going, holy shit, dude, it was like watching like you see these two guys, they're young, they're like in their mid-20s, and I'm watching them do this shit, and I'm like, Joe Dante, Alan Arkush. I'm like thinking, who else worked for him? That was under Ronnie Howard. He gave him the okay to do.
Without him, you don't get Tommy Lee Jones or Jack Nicholson.
No.
There's many directors who are now, including this one guy who did numerous episodes of Spartacus and Ash vs. Evil Dead, but he started out doing Don the Dragon Wilson Corman productions and his erotic psycho killers. So that without that, he doesn't get any experience. I'm sure he made a few bucks a day, but it doesn't matter. Like the better one out, you can't say he may not have given you a fortune, but you can't say he didn't give you some way in.
I know Boxcar Bertha was
Scorsese.
part of it, Scorsese, and he did, they did, was it Emperor of the North with Lee Marvin and Ernie Borgnine? I think they were in that. He had a hand in that.
Wasn't What wasn't he behind like Stallone being in
Yeah,
that
Death Race
David
2000.
Carradine Death Race?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Without that, you don't get Rocky. You really
Yeah.
don't. That's where most of the
I
budget came from.
I still crack up at the fact that him when he was with AIP, how he did all those like low budget, like those really good Poe movies on such a minuscule budget, but they would have such a return back on them. And he
Mhm.
basically brought back the careers of Karloff, Price, and Peter Lorre and Basil
Karloff was
Rathbone.
apparently a gent on some of those movies. Like the dude's dying of cancer, and literally he would ask the director, "Is this how? Where am I in the frame? Is this how you want
Yeah,
me?" A
yeah.
total trooper.
He was sick, I think. No, he was really sick during Targets when he worked with
Yes,
Peter Bogdanovich. But
Bogdanovich. And there's another one. Without that, you don't get Bogdanovich.
no, and I think the thing that gets me the most is he goes from the horror movie, then he jumps over and he makes The Wild Angels, which is one of the best like biker movies of all time,
Such a wild
with
movie. Yeah.
with Peter Fonda and
Hmm.
Nancy Sinatra. But then you got to realize from that jumps over 4 years, 3 years later, you have Easy Rider, which is
It's
you had
so
all these
wild.
bikers.
For the longest time, I swore that he was involved with that, but all he basically gave him was just like some film stock to borrow, but he had nothing to do with it. And
No, he had nothing to
always
do with
he
Easy
always
Rider.
said, "I regret not working on that excellent picture."
If you ever watched the show Dinner for Five, that John Favreau had
Yeah, the
on
talk show. Yeah, IFC.
Bravo, he was
Oh, no,
on
no,
one
no.
of them.
It was IFC.
It was IFC. I'm sorry, IFC.
It's all good.
Um,
I wish Bravo was that high class.
I know Bravo now is IFC's
It's the
become
real housewives shitfest now.
yeah.
Oh
IFC when it was on
God.
IFC, I watched it and I watched the night he was on. And he was talking about how he did Carnosaur. He said, "Okay, so I did Carnosaur. Then we made that and that came out, so that made some money. So then we had money to do Carnosaur 2,
It
and
all
then that came
connects
out.
the dots.
It's all like it's all release and return, release and return. He Piranha, Joe Dante's first movie, Piranha,
Hmm.
wasn't going to be released because whatchamacallit, Universal was gonna slap an injunction on it. And
Yeah,
Spielberg kind of said, "No, this is a good movie." And
it's
like
literally the only
it's a
ripoff
Corman
with
movie.
ideas. Yeah,
But it was like it's an environmental movie about piranhas that are mutated and they're going after people. And Spielberg was like, "No, no, 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 don't, no, go
that's
ahead,
why he
release it."
hired Dante. Dante's like,
Yeah,
"Didn't you take offense?" I'm like, "No, you actually had some thoughts."
and that's the great thing. I mean, he's going to be when they gave him the Oscar a couple years back, I was happy, but the thing I was happy about was that he was in The Godfather 2. He plays one of
Yeah,
the
the
center.
congressman. Yeah,
He plays the congressman. He's in Apollo 13. He plays one of the guys who asks about, you know, is this going to be safe to do? And then if you look carefully in Apocalypse Now,
there's a General
Coppola,
Corman. Yeah,
General Corman, and I think Sergeant Lucas. But
isn't
the
it?
thing
And
that pissed
Jonathan Demme would get a. There you go. There's another one who, without him,
Jonathan Demme, bang,
uh,
goes right,
but
you
it's just
know,
so funny how he sneaks him into Silence of the Lambs. He's like, "I need an FBI director. Come here,
you come in, you come in.
come here."
But Paul Schrader posted something.
What?
Paul
The
Paul Schrader
Schrader was
posted.
involved?
Paul
Whoa.
Schrader said something really nasty about him, and I was kind of pissed
Whoa.
when he said it.
I'm looking
Yeah,
this up.
yeah.
Okay.
Paul Schrader said something about Corman, and I was kind of like, going, "Dude, shut the fuck up." All right, you did Rolling Thunder. That was a
He
grindhouse
declares he's
movie.
overrated, right? See, as much as I respect his work and everything, he has said a lot of hateful stuff recently. And
You know,
I don't know if he's really that burnt out with how he's had his control taken away from him by the studios
yeah.
and he hates superhero movies, but I don't know.
It's like he's Taxi Driver. Scorsese. They all walked away from bullshit. They didn't walk away from him. They owe a debt to him, and they know it. Coppola walked
They
away from
legit
him. Yeah,
loved working for him.
yeah. So I think Schrader was just putting out sour apples because one of his movies, Rolling Thunder, is recognized as a grindhouse movie, not a friggin' masterpiece. And I love
I
Rolling
mean,
Thunder.
yeah, it's a great movie, but here's the thing, Schrader, you wrote a great script and you had it taken away from you, but your voice is in there. It's a perfect double feature with Taxi Driver, but
Taxi Driver, same way.
absolutely. And Schrader like disowned it because he was caving into the political pressure of the time of violence in cinema, and I'm just like, it's your work. Just because some other person added a few other subplots doesn't make it any less your movie than it does his. I feel like a lot of these guys, they are. I mean, Walter Hill's a bright guy. He knows he's likely to have a fan of a movie he's disowned as much as he is a non-fan. So it seems like a lot of these guys, they can't be thankful that someone wants to tell them they did a great job, and they are the kind that get snappy. They're likely to say, worst work ever. I'm like, whoa. Take the fandom where you can get it.
Yeah.
You might have hated working on it. That doesn't necessarily mean it was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's probably a good movie, and you're just too sour about having to cut out a subplot
there's
being told
people.
no. They hate being told no. And like, I'm sorry you're being told no, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, Dante, though, is a gentleman, and I'm okay whenever he talks some smack about the studio once in a while, but he's also a bright enough guy. He's happy to have had his run. And so I saw my sister kind of getting angry at one of his comments where he's like, I feel like Grogu and Mandalorian is kind of a Gizmo takeoff. And the filmmakers said they were inspired by E.T., but same difference. It's Spielberg kind of influence on an adorable character that can do deadly things. That's the gist.
Well, nobody realizes that, that's based on, The Mandalorian's based on Lone Wolf and Cub. So,
There's that too. And every other spaghetti Western.
So.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and foodie debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a